Welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. The 3 keys to your success is just moments away. Here's your host, Brian Kelly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. How are you doing tonight? This is going to be an amazing show. We have an amazing guest expert. I cannot wait to introduce her to you. Amazing person. She is part of a duo. It's a mom and daughter business. I cannot wait to dig in and find out the secrets to her success, to both her and her mom's success. It's an amazing thing. The Mind Body Business Show, real quick for those of you that might be new to the show, what is that all about? Well, it's about the 3 pillars of success. In my now 55 years on this planet, I found that there were patterns that had developed amongst successful people, primarily successful people. And what I found was in studying them that in these 3 areas, like mind, that's mindset, they always had a rock solid, powerful, and just unwavering mindset. And that can be implemented, it can be extended, it can be reinforced using a proven science called neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP for short. And there are other sciences and other approaches to help with your mindset as well. But many of those that I found to be successful have gone down that path and have utilized great tools and techniques in the NLP industry and world. And then there's body. What is that? Well, that's literally what it means. It's taking care of your body. The people that I have found that are most successful really take care of their body, both physically from the outside and nutritionally from the inside. And that is working out, exercising on a regular basis. Now look, if you're a guy, you don't have to look like Arnold did in his heyday. You don't have to be a massive bodybuilder to be fit and operate at a peak level of performance. It just means staying busy, moving, do it on a regular basis, 3 to 6 times a week. And then nutrition, it's what you put into your body. You know, the good fuel in, that results in great results, right? So it's those 2 elements, mind and body. Now, really, those are the foundation. It all starts with mindset, in my humble opinion, because if you don't have that rock-solid mindset, then you are not going to continue the habit, the nurturing habit of taking care of your body. And vice versa, if you don't take care of your body, now your mind is not operating at a peak level of performance. They're kind of like a team. More importantly, they're your team. And when you have any part or any member of a team that's not pulling their weight, so to speak, the team as a whole will suffer. Once you get those 2 put into place and you have that, you're on the right track and you're mastering both mindset and taking care of your body, then there becomes the part that we're all aware of, and that's business. Here's the thing, business is a multifaceted arena, and that means that it takes many different skill sets to be successful in one's business. The good news is you don't have to have or possess all of these skills yourself. You can outsource and scale, bring in help to help in that area. And if you're not doing that yet, then when would now be the right time to consider doing so, to get some outside help, because then you can scale much faster. Business is so multifaceted. It's about marketing, it's about sales, team building, leadership, systematizing. The list goes on. And it can be very daunting for those just starting out if you're a solopreneur. That's why it'd be a very good idea to start looking into expanding your knowledge base by just expanding your team beyond you, and you'll find a great relief in doing so. And speaking of successful people, another thing I noticed that is actually part of the mind component is they are avid, voracious readers. They read everything there is on business, on personal development, on fitness, all of the 3 components that make up a successful business person in business and in their personal lives. And with that, I like to switch over to a little segment I affectionately like to call bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by ReachYourPeakLibrary.com.
Yes, ReachYourPeakLibrary.com. Now, for those of you watching live or even listening right now, here's the thing. If you have your phone out and you're watching or listening from that, or if you're watching on a computer, in both cases, just stay with the show. In other words, resist the temptation to go punching in a URL or a website address while you're watching. And the reason for that is because the magic happens in the room. And I get it, this is a virtual room. But it's very, very true. And I would hate for you to miss one golden nugget from our guest expert, Lorena Tomasini, who's coming on very soon, I promise. And so stay with us. And instead, rather than do that, do what I do. I'm actually running the show, and I also take notes with the old traditional pen and paper as the show goes on. And then after the show, I review those notes and then go check out resources. Oftentimes, my guests, for instance, will come up with a great recommendation for, you guessed it, a book. And what I do is I take those down and I end up buying those instantly right when the show is over on Audible. And then I will have it in my list, my own library, to read later. I'm literally reading one right now that I got as an actual referral from a past guest. And the reason I tell you this is because I highly recommend you do the same. Find those that are successful, and whatever they're reading, read it. Because it's real simple. There is no big secret to success. It's really this. Find someone else who is successful, that is at a level you wish to attain, and model them. That's a fancy word for copy. Do what they do, and you will find that you will reach a level of success that is greater than where you are right now, on the way to reaching their level as well. It's that simple. I wish I could make it harder, but that's why I do this show, because I bring people on like Lorena that you can then model. Copy what she does. Pick out those things that she's doing that maybe you're not, and we'll get to that very soon. I'm not kidding. It's coming right away. And then just model what she's doing, model what I'm doing, and then you'll see greater success in both your business and personal life as well. And so this is a list of books that I've compiled that I've personally read. It's nowhere near complete. I've stopped updating it a little while ago, but there are many more books than on this list. This is a good start. There's about 40 of them in here. So this is literally a creation I put together for you, with you in mind. Really, it's not there to make money. It's there to have a resource or to present a resource to you. If you are not reading, then this is a great place to start. And all of these books I personally read, and they have had impact on me in a positive way. Not every book I've read has gone into this list, just to be clear. And so with this, at least you can have a filtered list of books that's been vetted by at least one successful person, which then leads to you spending less time reading the incorrect books, the wrong books, the ones that aren't that great. So that's the reason I put that together. So feel free to utilize that resource. And again, that's reachyourpeaklibrary.com. Write that down. Don't visit it now. Write it down, and then visit it when the show's over. And speaking of the show being over, before it becomes over, we got to bring on our guest expert, don't you think? And hopefully my system will behave. Here we go. We're going to bring her on right now. I hope. Well, yes. Much quicker than I expected. Fantastic. We're having some fun times over here. And I want to introduce to you all, you see her name on the screen, Lorena Tomasini. How are you doing this evening, Lorena?
I'm doing very well, Brian, and you?
I'm doing fantastic. You know, it's all about being flexible, isn't it, Lorena? I mean, to be successful in business, you have to be flexible for so many different things. One being technology. And I can't tell you how many times I've done this show, how many times I've tested everything. We tested right before we went live, didn't we, Lorena?
Yes, we
And
did.
issues came up and things were different than I expected, but you know what, just roll with it. And normally you shouldn't even call it out, call attention to it. But I'm using this now for an example to help teach others that, look, things happen, go with it, be flexible. It's okay if it's not exactly the way you wanted it. It's going to be different. And you know what? Sometimes when it comes in differently, you might go, my gosh, I actually like that better. It happens by accident sometimes. So a little different direction there, but I wanted to bring on Lorena. But right before we do that, everyone who's watching live, I want to let you know that you can win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort in Mexico. Compliments of my friends at powertexting.com. We're going to show you how to do that near the end of the show. You must be on at the end to then see how to enter to win that. We give out a vacation stay every single show because of, you see it right there, our sponsors, powertexting.com. So stay tuned for that. Now, at last, let's finally bring on the fine young lady of the hour, Lorena. Lorena Tomasini is the owner of MALM Life and Health Insurance Agency in Miami, Florida, and she is part of a mother-daughter duo, and they work virtually to help families and businesses with financial protection with their 3D process where they, 1, define, 2, discover, and then the person 3 decides it's easier than ever. Best of all, their prospects and clients can take care of these important matters all from the comfort of their own home or office while relaxing and, get this, maybe even drinking coffee or tea while they're at it. That's amazing. All right. Yes, Lorena. So finally, formally, I welcome you to the show. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Fantastic. Now, that gives a little a brief of what you're doing. You've been doing this for a number of years, yes?
Yeah, actually last week I celebrated my 13th year.
13 years. You don't look like you're old enough to be doing any business for 13 years. Are you sure?
I get that often. I started in college.
Okay, or when you were in elementary school, maybe. But
Maybe, yeah.
love it. 13 years, so would it be safe to say you know what you're doing? I think
I
so.
would hope. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And so it's cool to know that you have the acumen, the background, the experience to help people in this area. And by the way, that's what Lorena loves doing. I could tell immediately by talking to her right before the show. That's one of the reasons she and her mom do this, is to help people. They target small businesses and families, and they're there to help you to get the best insurance for your dollar. That's what I love about this. So that's great on the surface, and it gives us a little bit of background knowledge of what you've done in the past from more of a, I call it a physical level, but I like to dig deep and get into the mind, so to speak, of each of my guests to really find out what makes them tick. I have a deep curiosity about that. And the reason is because, like I said in the beginning of the show, the mindset is paramount to one's success or failure, depending. And so you come off as a very positive individual to me, Lorena, and when it comes to maintaining something like that, a positive attitude, that takes energy for people that, I'm sure everybody knows that, to remain positive even when things are going crazy. Like on this show, things are going crazy. It can take some extra energy to remain positive when things aren't going the way they should. So how do you maintain that positive, productive, and successful mindset when going through all of the things that happen in a business and in life? How do you do that? How do you sustain that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brian. So how to maintain what I like to call a positive mental attitude, or PMA for short. I think it's very important that when something isn't going how you want it to go, take a moment to just breathe or do something else. Take your mind out of whatever the problem might be, so that way you can come back more calm and with a new set of eyes to the problem, And definitely, yeah, be flexible, because things will change and things might not turn out how you expect them to. But yeah, having that positive attitude really helps. And a way of doing that, besides breathing and those types of techniques, is maybe having little quotes here and there that help you throughout the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like little quotes like on the wall or in front of you in your computer, things like
Yeah.
that.
And always looking at the bigger picture, right? It might be a little problem now, but looking at, okay, why am I doing this? Like, what's the purpose of it?
Oh, very good. Having a why, a powerful why. That's always good. That's a great one. It's kind of like hitting a reset button. Like, when things get really rough. In fact, that's what we train all the time is, one of the greatest things for your mind is to have that very strong why. Why do you do what you do? Why would you go through what you're going through? Because
Right.
running your own business is not easy. Well, maybe
No.
not for me, but maybe it is for you. Um, and if you don't have a powerful why, for me, I've gone through a process where we determine what our why is. I've done it several times, and out of curiosity, I did it more than once, and I found each time it was the same. For me, it's a personal thing, so it could be something different for every person. For me, it's my wife. I get up out of bed, I do what I do, I work my ever-living butt off because I love my wife, and I do everything because I want to make her happy, and I want our life together to be the best it can be. That's my why. Doesn't mean it has to be anyone else's why with their spouse.
Yeah, he's
But
a lucky woman, it seems.
I look at it the other way around, but thank you. Yes, I'm a very lucky man. I'm so blessed to have. She's my high school sweetheart. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow.
Yes, we met in high school and never parted ways and married after college. And it's been one of those like Cinderella stories. It's been
Yeah,
awesome.
nice to hear.
Yeah, yeah, right. That doesn't happen too often anymore. I understand. But
Hmm.
that, like you said, it's very powerful to have a great why. And you said the word flexible as well. Because
Hmm.
here's the thing, and you tell me if this is the same for you, Lorena. But you know, as you become, if you work longer and more years, and you become more successful, then everything just comes easier, and you have fewer and fewer problems, right?
Yes and no. There will always be new problems,
Yeah.
and maybe things that used to exist as an issue are no longer. So yeah, there's always something new to resolve or to do. That's just life in general.
Yeah,
I
it's
think it would be boring if every
ooh,
day would be the same.
ooh, I love that. I love that. I feel like exactly the same way. And
Mhm.
really, truth of the matter is, the bigger a business gets, the bigger the problems become. And you have to become more and more flexible. And the good news is, as you're growing, if you're growing, that means your business is still alive, and that's a good sign. And as long as you're growing, you're already to grow. You had to already have been flexible and continue to be so, and grow in that flexibility to where your mindset is now, you know what? I've been through a lot looking back at what happened then, and now this is coming at me. It might be a little bigger, but I got this because,
Exactly.
you know, it's
Hmm.
not like this is the first time any weird thing has cropped up. Just like, you know,
Right.
when you have a show and certain things aren't working in the background, and you sit there waiting and wondering what is going on. Um,
Yeah.
and so you just go with it. You have fun. Make the
Hmm.
best of it. Look, everyone is human. Everyone, there's nobody perfect on the planet. There's no technology perfect on the planet. So you just make the best of it and be flexible. So thanks for that. Um, I would imagine that you enjoy reading. I see lots of certificates on your wall. That's cool. And I see a quote in
Hmm.
the back that you just talked about. Proceed as a success is something. It's hard to read.
Oh, it says proceed as if success is inevitable.
Ah, love it. Proceed as if success is inevitable. Those are great to have around and
Hmm.
reminders all over the place. And
Right.
so I've read many business related books over the past several years, and I could mention a few. But for you, if you could think of just one, what would you say would be the one business related book that has inspired you or impacted you the most thus far?
I think one book that really made an impact in my life is a book called The Success System
Hmm?
That Never Fails by W. Clement Stone. Um, he was from Chicago, and he talked a lot in that book about inspiration to action, know-how, and activity knowledge. So, it's all about why do you get out of bed every morning to do your job? Is it what motivates you at the end of the day, right? And then know-how is like knowing your products, your services, your competitors, all that important stuff that you need to know, right? And then activity knowledge is like what's going to get you to the next step. Is it going to be making phone calls, networking, sending out emails, and how is it that for you, you like to do that, right? Because personally, like I don't like going to networking events, so I don't, unless like it's something that I really need to go to. I avoid going to them, so I find other ways to get clients, right? But I think out of those three steps, the most important one really is inspiration to action, because you might have all the information about your products and the benefits and why it's the best and all this stuff, but if you're not motivated with that bigger why than making sales or making money, you're in the short term, you're really going to fail. You might be good for a year or two, but you don't have that drive to keep going every day out there. And a quote from that book that I really liked, it would say like great opportunities come from like a door hinge. So just opening a door, what really holds the door is the little hinges, right? And I always think about that when you're walking into a new place or meeting new people, you have to open a door to get there. So yeah, I really like the book. It's kind of an older book, but it has a lot of great information, you know.
Thank you for
Mm,
that. I wrote it down, and I will be buying that right when the show's over as well.
awesome. Yeah.
So I'm reading something called I think it's called Atomic Habits, and I can't remember. It's Chris Reed or something. My thing with names is incredible, but and I keep reading all these great. I just finished Elon Musk. Oh my gosh, what a great read that was! What that guy is a genius, and he's also a little off
Yeah,
kilter,
yeah.
but
He's on another level, you
he
know. Yeah.
is truly in many
Yeah.
ways. Even oh my gosh, I can't think. Bill Gates
Mm-hmm.
even spoke highly of him, saying how he's different than Bill Gates, and Bill Gates is also very, very intellectually sound and way up
Yeah.
there.
Mm,
And yeah, he's a different individual, and he's changing a lot of lives. One person. And how many times have you ever thought to yourself, I've done this, that I'd love to change the world, but I'm just one person. How can I do that? Right?
right.
And it's just inch by inch, it's a cinch kind of thing. But that
Mhm.
being said, it just seems like a big, lofty goal. Well, I think Elon Musk has achieved it already, and he continues to go forward. So,
Yeah.
yeah, keep reading, and thank you for that. The success system that never fails. Is that correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So I recommend everyone read that. It had great impact on Lorena. It's her go-to. Speaking of go-to, we've had many people come through our lives,
Yeah.
in and out, those that have inspired us, those that maybe haven't, that we say, well, I've learned what not to do, and I've learned now what to do.
Right.
And it could be someone you know personally that you've met in person. It could be someone that you've just read about, you've never met. Or it could be someone that's no longer even with us that had a great impact on you. If you were to pick one person, who would you say has had the greatest impact and inspiration on you thus far?
Right. Good question. I would say, besides my parents, which I think is like everybody's, they're both business owners. But besides them, I would say like Oprah was a big inspiration growing up, um, from her story that she grew up in the 50s and 60s in, I think, Mississippi, to now being, one of the most successful women um, that's still around. And seeing her, how she's been able to go from a TV reporter to her own show, to being a producer, to an actor, now having her own TV show, and how she's had to really change herself throughout different phases in her career just to continue being successful, but always doing something that she's passionate about. I think is really important in life, in general. It seems that I like people from Chicago. It's the second person I mentioned, no? Um, so yeah.
Yeah, and being passionate about something is also important. I've read and seen and heard so many stories on both sides of the fence. Some will say you got to do what you're passionate about, and others say forget that. You got to do what makes money. Like
Or something in the middle,
or
because
something
I
in the
feel like
middle.
you
Yeah,
spend all day talking about stuff, and if you are, it better be something you really like. Maybe not your passion, but something you enjoy talking about.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's hard enough as it is. Now, can you imagine doing something just for money that you don't
Hmm.
enjoy? I can't. I'd rather
Right.
not have the money because it's about enjoying life. The bottom line, for
Mhm.
me personally, it's not just
Yeah.
about having money and the ability to buy things or to be free to do what I want. But if you're free to do what you want, then do something you like. I
Yeah.
don't understand that philosophy personally, and I often
Mhm.
think that those that have that opinion, and I'm not calling anyone out because I can't even think of an individual, but they are out there. But those that have that thought process are at a point in their life where they have yet to achieve a level of success financially,
Yeah.
to have experienced it, to understand that it's not all about money. Money does buy things, it does help you. You can scale your business, you can grow your business, you can serve more people, you can have
Right.
the flexibility now, we're talking about that word a lot, to do more things, to hire more people, to expand your business, to have freedom. It's all about the freedom of time. It's not about
Yeah.
money. It's what money can help to afford
Mhm.
you going
Mhm.
forward. These are my opinions. You might have. You're nodding a lot, so I think you're agreeing.
Yeah.
And this is also for the entire audience who's watching, listening right now. So, yeah, it's amazing. Oprah, great. She's an amazing
Mhm.
woman. Wow. I mean, so successful. You can tell she works extremely hard. It's in her
Mhm.
demeanor. and every show she does, she's a true professional.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a great inspiration to have for sure. Amazing. So I look forward to seeing you on her upcoming show.
There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna be on the OWN network pretty soon, right?
Cool. Is
Yeah.
I've lost touch. Is she still on doing a show right now? A live show?
No, she has like her own TV channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. I knew she was moving on to something bigger. I just didn't know if she was
Yeah.
actively in front of the camera doing shows herself.
Yeah, I think she does like on Sundays or something. She interviews authors and things like that.
Something she is very, very good at too,
Yeah.
interviewing people for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it takes, I said in the very beginning, right, when we're building a business, the three major components, mind, body, business. And in business, that requires a number of skill sets to be successful in your business. Now, I said it's okay to delegate many of those if you don't possess them,
Mhm.
but I don't want to do that at a fault to where I say you don't need to acquire any.
Right.
So really, if it's in your wheelhouse, if you know it's something you can achieve and it's not going to be really so far away that you can't do it, then you should consider acquiring that new skill set if it's that important to growing your business.
Mhm.
And so it does take skills on your part, not talking about you, Lorena, but people
Yeah.
that we're talking to. It does take time. I have spent tens of thousands of dollars. I'm not kidding in training, in bettering myself in many different ways, including mindset, including physicality, including
Mhm.
business skill sets and sales. I've spent a lot of money in training, and I don't have any regrets doing that to acquire the necessary skill sets to become successful. And there are like major ones that you really need as a baseline,
Yeah.
a foundation, because then when you go to lead others, they're going to look at you and go, well, what do you know how to do? Right? They're going to be scrutinizing your every move. So you better have some good skill sets on your own. So for
Yeah.
you, Lorena, there's a lot of them. If you could pinpoint it down to maybe just three, for you, this doesn't have to be for anyone else, what would you say
Mhm.
are the top three skills needed to become as successful as you have as an entrepreneur?
Another ballpark question there. I would say, top three skill sets that you would need are besides, the positive mental attitude, that's, key, but um, always being determined and not, again, getting lost on your goal or your why. Um, being able to be teachable, even though you might be, the leader or the owner or whatever, you also need to be teachable from other people that know more about you. Um, and then I would say, the third one, a good skill to have. Yeah, if you don't know how to do something, delegate it. And I think that's something I'm learning myself because I like to do everything. I don't like delegating. I feel sometimes like if I don't do it, they're not going to do it the right way. But just have trust in those that you hire or that work for you, that they'll do it to the best of their ability. So not micromanaging,
That's great, great advice, especially the micromanaging part. Don't micromanage. No one enjoys being micromanaged. And by that,
Yeah,
if you have never heard that term, that's basically having someone stand over you and tell you not just what to do, and also when to do it, and then the worst, how to do it. It's like,
right.
well, then you want a robot because I, I am a human and I'm not going to do it exactly the way you do it because I'm different than you. And
Exactly.
that's kind of my
Exactly.
definition of a micromanager. So thank you for bringing that one up. But I
Yeah.
will say of those, I think being teachable is difficult for many because
Mhm.
it involves this something that we all have. Every one of us that we call ourselves human, and that is ego.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest things every one of you can do, I can tell Lorena's already done it, is to take that hat off, that I know that hat, where you know everything, take it off and set it aside. And just say, you know what, I may know that, and I wonder what else I can learn.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
because I think that helps avoid burning out. Because if you're the one doing the sales, the marketing, the customer service, tech support, everything that goes into a business, right? you're one person, So
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
why, well, I was going to say that one of the most powerful ones in there, skills, is that of how to delegate, because that
Mhm.
brings with it so many other things. And you touched on a few of them, and that's leadership skills, right? Is how to
Yeah.
lead effectively others, and what there are different styles. I've seen many. I've witnessed, Lorena, I have witnessed this firsthand within 20 feet of me. A manager, thankfully wasn't mine. I just happened to be in there visiting. It's a long story.
Hmm.
He had his entire group in this room, and they were having a meeting, and out of nowhere, because I could just hear, I was off to the side, I wasn't listening to
Right.
every word. All of a sudden I hear yelling, and it's the manager berating one person in front of the entire group. And I just
Yeah.
shook my head. And here's the sad part: this guy was and still is my friend, manager. I had no idea that that was his management skill or his management approach. I wouldn't call it a skill. That was a horrible approach, in my opinion.
Hmm.
It's those kinds of things that you learn, or that you should really take into account and think twice before reacting. If that's, if you don't like something, then take them to the side, take them into your office, talk to them
Right.
individually, work it out there, but do not make a public display of somebody that you're unhappy with. That was,
Right. Yeah,
so
don't
that's,
don't embarrass them in front of their coworkers. That's not correct.
yeah, and that's one extreme. Another is on the flip side is this is the way I do it. I train my people so that they have the skills to leave.
Hmm.
And
That's great.
interesting is a past guest of mine, Tom Antion, who is an internet marketing multimillionaire. He does that very same thing. And the only thing you have to concern yourself with is when they do leave, because you're doing it with that purpose. They will leave eventually.
Right.
Some will. Some will love you so much they don't ever want to leave. You just want them to be as happy as they can be.
Yeah.
But when they do leave, you have to train the next person that comes on, and you can develop systems to make that less painful than
Hmm.
it needs
Hmm.
to be. So
I
yeah,
say, treat people like adults, not children.
exactly. And delegation includes training, having training
Hmm.
ready for them.
Yeah.
It includes a lot. So that was a big one. When you said delegate, my eyes got big. So thank you for that, because that's a huge one. Um, and we're talking about there are people out there that love to go after what I call the quick kill, which means make money at whatever the cost. Make
Okay.
that sale and then don't nurture that customer. Walk away from them
Hmm.
because I made the sale, not knowing or realizing or even thinking that that customer could be worth well more than they just spent over the next year to 2 to 5 to 10 years, depending on your products.
Hmm.
And it's a quick kill mentality that really ends up killing the business of the person that has that mentality. I've seen it. I can think of one gentleman right now as I'm saying this, and that's not a recipe for long-term success. You've been at this for 13 years. You're doing something right, and
Hmm.
and kudos to you and your mom for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And the reason I'm going to say thank you is because I'm going to ask you exactly how you came about doing that. And I know there might be many moving parts on that question, but just if you could explain how it is you have been able to achieve this long-term success that you and your mom are having at this moment.
Yeah. So I think one of the main things is definitely following up with customers or prospects. If somebody calls, answer them in a timely manner within, 24 hours or whatever system you have in place, or send them a quick text message. Hey, I saw your call. I'm going to call you back when I'm out of the meeting or whatever the case might be. Um, I can say like we do health insurance, and with that, the open enrollment starts now in November, and we've had clients with us for the past 7 years who are like, I only work with you because I know that you pick up the phone, that you talk to me with being able to understand what I'm getting myself into. So they're very happy, and that leads to even more success because if your customer is happy, they're going to stay with you, and they're also going to refer you to their friends and family. So I think customer service is key, and not just, selling something today and never reaching out to your client again. That just doesn't make any sense. Um, there's like some principle out there that says that like 20% of your 80% of your business comes from like 20% of your clients is some type of number like that. And that makes sense. If you focus more on the people that you already have, that will lead to more success in the future. Instead of always trying to find new people, work with your existing clients that you already built that relationship with.
Absolutely, yeah. It's harder to find new clients than it is to keep a current one and resell to that person.
Right.
It takes a lot of time, effort, and money to bring in a
Yeah.
brand new client because you have to build up that know, like, and trust factor and all the things that go with it. When you have a
Right.
client already, they've already developed some sort of relationship with you to become your client. And then now they have experienced yours, Lorena's, your customer service, your level of caring for them. And so it's so much easier to say, hey, it's time to relook at your policy and see if there's some changes we can make. And by the way, I
Exactly.
have something else that just came across my desk that you might be interested in. And they'd be
Right.
much more likely to say yes than someone who never heard of you before. So
Yeah.
definitely, and I
And
appreciate.
definitely something else, I would say is also being flexible because like before we used to do everything the old school way in insurance. It's like, going to somebody's house, knocking on their door, that across the kitchen table type of conversation. And we've been able to transition everything to do it over the phone or the computer with our clients. And just being able to do that and being able to explain to the clients like this is how we're going to work from now on, um, is really good because we get to help more people as well.
Absolutely. And that's a huge point you just made there is the ability to do this virtually, meaning,
Yeah.
from your office to their home and vice versa, and having your mom involved. And the cool thing
Yeah.
is with that, and I've worked with other health professionals in the past in similar lines, and what that does for you and everyone in your industry is you can then go out and become licensed in other states and serve
Yeah.
those people as well. So that even helps you to scale your business, and you're no longer hindered and constrained to how far you can drive to meet a client, right, in a car.
Exactly. Yeah, or oh, I forgot you were coming today and you just drove 2 hours, for especially with the traffic here in Miami, anywhere is an hour at least. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's huge, and that's where you said is flexibility, very key to being to getting that long term success. I
Yeah.
mean, flexibility, that's a daily thing.
Hmm.
It's almost hourly. We saw that at the
Yeah.
onset of this show. It started going a little wonky on me, um, and that's good because it's good for people to know that haven't been through that it is an imperfect world, and becoming a successful person takes you through nonstop imperfection all day long, every day, multiple times a day. It's really more about how you react to it than what happens to you, which I always say happens for you. Things happen for you because it's how you react that makes the difference in how successful you're going to be,
Right.
more than what happened for you. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that takes a different mindset, right? It takes, being an entrepreneur. What do you think, Lorena? Is that easy?
No.
It is not easy. Is it gratifying
Yeah, for sure.
instantly?
You know.
And I'm
Hmm.
doing that so everybody can watch and see you. Instantly, she said yes, and her face went to a big smile
Yeah.
because it is gratifying. When you work as hard as an entrepreneur does who's successful at their business, the gratification comes at the end of the day when you've served that other client, that one more client. You've resolved an issue, a problem that they needed solving, or you've overcome a hurdle that's been nagging your business or you for some time. And it's a nonstop, ever moving
Hmm.
target of things that I think make life enjoyable. Some others would say, "Boy, that makes it a pain in the butt."
Hmm.
It's a mindset thing, and you know what? That's why there aren't 80% entrepreneurs and only 20% employees. It's the other way around. It's actually more like 2% entrepreneurs, and the rest are okay with working with someone else, and God bless them.
Hmm.
Uh, so, yeah, being an entrepreneur takes work. It's not
Yeah.
easy. So
Yeah.
I'm only saying this for those that are watching that haven't gone deep down that path. You may have dabbled in it, dipped your toes in the water, maybe maybe join a network marketing company or something.
Right.
And it's that I've done all that. I've done all this. I'm not saying anything I haven't done, and I can look back and go, yeah, that's when that was in the beginning stages when I thought I knew what this was all about. I had no
Hmm.
clue. I had no clue
Yeah.
just how much I would be tried, challenged, and how much I absolutely loved all that. I didn't realize
Hmm.
it. I was like, man, I'd like it just to be autopilot, because right, you're gonna work what 2 more years, Lorena, and it's just gonna be on autopilot, and you're gonna be able to go lay in your hammock and have an umbrella drink and just sway in the breeze, right? That's how it works.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And what did you say earlier about what it would mean if it was that easy? I mean, if it just happened automatically and there was nothing to look forward to the next day to go after.
Yeah, that would be very, very boring. We would quickly, I think as humans, we would quickly be bored. Like, okay, now what? I've sat here in this hammock for 5 days and, I'm sunburnt. Now what?
It's so interesting that you say that. My wife and I, we go on vacations, and I mean, I'm 55. I'm not going to say how old she is. That would be rude. I love her. Doesn't matter. The thing is, we would go on these vacations, and then we would look for, the best times to go out and lay out by the pool. And
Hmm.
I kid you not, just recently, it was like a couple of trips ago, we went and did that, and we laid there. And I'm telling you, I don't know if it was 10 minutes. And
Right.
at the same time, we kind of looked at each other like, what do you want to do now? Because it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're just
Too
sitting
hot
there doing
outside.
nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not
Because
wired that way. I can't
in
do that.
Miami, you walk out to your car and it's like, okay, like I'm done. Forget the beach, it's too hot.
And ours isn't just that it's too hot, or I mean, I mean, I could be standing in the pool, staying cool, but I'm
Mm.
sitting there going, I'm not making an impact on anything. I'm not, my mind's wired to work, to run, to continually think and
Mm-hmm.
create. Yeah, you need downtime, so 10 minutes is enough.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I've asked this of many people, Lorena, and I have a feeling yours is the same. Is like, let's say there is a goal in your mind of absolute, ultimate, total success. And that once you reach that level, I mean, whatever that is for you, in your mind's eye, and you reach it, and now you see you've made it. I mean, you are the happiest person on earth now because you've reached the top, and there's this thing up there called the ceiling, and you can go no farther. How would that
Right.
feel?
I think it would feel good for about 5 minutes. And
Yes.
then after that, you're looking for another mountain to climb, another peak to reach, um, because that's just how we are. Like, you know, you reach a goal and it's like, wow, I can't believe I reached that goal. And then your brain is instantly thinking, okay, what else can I do? You know?
Yeah. What's next? It's kind of like you get
Hmm.
a brand new car and it has that new car smell, and
Yeah.
it isn't long until you're like, okay, I want something better. I want something different. I'm going to upgrade. And what's
Hmm.
what's next?
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's
Hmm.
how true entrepreneurs are wired. And you know, I don't know if that can be taught. I think it can be nurtured and developed into a bigger energy, I guess, to say that you become more of a person that wants to just continue on and never
Right.
stop and never be satisfied. I think that's the big word. Is I don't think we're ever satisfied. It doesn't mean we're dissatisfied, right?
Right.
We're loving the journey. That's the difference. Is we're
I
enjoying the
think that's,
journey.
between like an employee and an entrepreneur, you know, I joked around one time, like, as women, people always ask us, like, oh, how are your kids? Or, how many kids do you have, without even assuming that we might not have kids, right?
Mm.
So, so I think like it would be funny if you just walk up to people and be like, oh, hey, how's your business going? You know, like it would be random, like just to assume that everybody should be an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
With that perspective, because I think the mentality is totally different. When you're an entrepreneur, you have, you know, XYZ jobs that you need to do every day. You come into work from 9 to 5 or whatever it is, right? With the lunch hour break. You have your set days for holidays and things like that. But then when you're an entrepreneur, people think that all that you do is like sit in front of the computer, chat with people, and and then go lay by the pool. I have a pool here. I lay by the pool every now and then, but that's not my everyday. And definitely I don't work your regular hours 9 to 5. I probably work more hours a week at the end of the day than your typical um, employee, right? But it all depends, what time of the year it is, what's going on in my business. But yeah, there's a lot of moving parts once you really take that plunge and you don't have that safety net of, okay, I know I'm gonna get paid this much every month or every month or every 2 weeks, right? So you kind of stop living paycheck to paycheck now, but um, it's really all on you to make your business successful, and whether you fail or succeed, it's all a life lesson, to decide maybe entrepreneurship wasn't for you and you should go back to the 9 to 5, because I don't think everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. At the end, it sounds harsh because there's a lot of this raw positive stuff about be your own business owner, start your own business, you work from the internet, look at my Lamborghini and all this stuff, which that's great, but what did that person have to do day in day out to get there? And did they do that in a year? Did it take them 10 years to do that? Everybody's different. So yeah, I think we're always going to have employees because again, we need to delegate as business owners, but I don't think everybody again is meant to be an entrepreneur. It's a totally different mindset, and this might sound harsh, but it's kind of like talent. It's either you're good at playing an instrument, and yeah, maybe you've had lessons, but there's that extra ability that some people have that other people just don't have, even if they have all that music theory knowledge and all that stuff. There's just something there that they'll never have, So I think books and all that is great, but I think until people don't try it, they won't really know.
That's I cannot tell you how thankful I am that you said that. In several times you said this may come up as harsh. That's why it's the best thing you could do to tell people because you're telling the truth, and
Yeah,
it's best that people learn the truth now rather than waste time, which would end up being a waste of time if they were to say, "Well, I think I can do this. I'm going to give it a go." But now that I just heard this, if someone reacted to say, "Well, gosh, it sounds too hard. I'm really not interested," then good,
right.
then you will be happier. It's all about what you choose to do, not what other people think you should do, not how you look to other people. Like, well, you don't have a Lamborghini, you're not an entrepreneur, so you must not be all that. Like, no,
Right,
each
right.
person needs to do what they're happy doing and
Yeah,
not be worried about the scrutiny that comes as a result. You can do very well as an employee and make a lot of
mhm,
money. I've seen many
yeah,
times
of course,
and
of
have
course.
those wonderful things and have that paycheck come in every week or 2 weeks or however often you get
Yeah,
paid.
because some people need that peace of mind
Hmm.
because they have responsibilities that, they need that health insurance through their job for some reason. They need that 401k. They need certain things in place, right? So yeah, of course, do you, like they say.
Yeah, and in one word, that's called certainty. They want certainty. They want to
Mm,
know, and they want predictability too. That's part of
oh,
it.
for sure,
And
for
not
sure.
everybody has the same personality traits, and that's what's beautiful about the human race. We're all different. So none of this is a judgment on anyone
No,
on either
n-
side of the fence, because judgments could be passed both ways, really. It's just we are human. We're given God-given talents and abilities, and we can nurture those and make them even better. But if you weren't given certain talents, it's going to be tough if you try to fit a square peg into a round hole. It's like
yeah,
I liken it to sports. Like
exactly.
basketball. If you're not born with a physical abilities or even stature, like many that have made it all the way are very tall human beings. I
Hmm.
mean, a relatively average guard is 6'5". That's tall. If you walk
Hmm.
down the street, I'm looking up. I'm 6'2". 6'5"
Right.
is tall.
Hmm.
And if you're not born with that, you don't. Not everybody has to be tall, but the odds are they go down and drastically the shorter you are, and that's
Yes,
just part of it. You were either born with it or you weren't, and that's
exactly.
kind of an analogy to give to those of you that might, give it a shot if you're interested, if you're curious. I'm not,
Right.
I don't think Lorena or I are trying to stop you from going after it. We just want you to know that it's not for everybody. It takes a lot of persistence and discipline. You said in the beginning, I forget the word, you have to be very determined. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very determined, and that means like all the time, and have a big why. Everything we've been talking about. Fantastic. So being that it's been super easy for you all this time, and I always say that jokingly, sometimes what we do to gain, or just to stay afloat sometimes, we have to give way with something else in our life in order that we can, we have to make a decision. We either put more of our time and effort, maybe money, into building the business and nurturing it than we do something else in our life. And that would be, just to put it in one word, called a sacrifice, right? So to become a successful entrepreneur, I know I've made my great deal of sacrifices and learned from some of them that some I should not have done, but I learned from them and have changed.
Right.
If you were to think back for yourself, what kind, just to help others to understand what the life of a successful entrepreneur is, what kind of sacrifices can you recall making while you were growing up to the point of success you're at now?
Yeah, so I started doing insurance, working for myself basically when I was 19. Yeah, I got my license when I was 19. And I was in college at the time. And, I always thought one of the main sacrifices I really did do, I guess, very early on was like my social life. I would like rarely go out on the weekends or like at night because the majority of people I would see would be like, oh, come by at 7, come by at 8, And between that type of work schedule, I was mainly done during the nighttime. And then also going to school full time, I would have to, study, make time to study and do all that. So my social life kind of stagnated a little bit. I would say like in my 20s. It's not to say I didn't have a social life, but like I didn't have the traditional college experience, let's say, because it was a lot of responsibility, um, on top of me. So I would definitely say that, for me, I was never into the party life or anything like that either. So it's not like I've missed out on anything really. Um, but I would say that would be my biggest sacrifice, especially very early on in my career, like the first, I would say from like 19 to 25, 26, around there.
Yeah, and that'd be a tough time to make that kind of sacrifice, because that's often when we are really developing our big social skills, meeting amazing people that may become lifelong friends. Maybe
Right.
even a spouse is in the mix, or boyfriend or
Who
girlfriend.
knows?
Although,
Maybe that's why I'm still single.
all right, you heard it. She's single. She's available. I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Miami, Florida. Look her up, with respect. But yeah, that's the thing. It's all about choices. So the whole key there is, like this book I'm reading now, Atomic Habits is called. Atomic meaning little bitty, tiny habits, making strides every single day. That it's more important to focus on the system rather than the end goal. It's the system that's getting you to that goal that you should be focusing on. I'm like, wow, this is awesome stuff. I just
Yeah,
started
like
reading
what
it.
are you doing every day,
Yes,
right? The little things that really matter for today, not,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
get out that you get. Yeah.
and being persistent at it, and that's usually the hardest thing. We all want instant gratification. So, you
hmm
know what? I worked out for a week and I don't see any growth on my arm. I'm done. Right? It's
Yeah.
it takes time. Everything takes time, and I think one of the common misconceptions, and I've seen this in network marketing arenas, especially. I used to be a co-owner of a network marketing company, and we didn't do this, but I see it a lot where they're not promising it, but they're showing that it can happen, that you can become wealthy very quick with very
Right.
minimal effort. They don't come
hmm
out and say those words, but they sure make it look that way. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. Just send somebody something here on your phone and
Yeah,
they'll watch a video and instantly wanna, buy your product or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sent,
And that's kind of sad because it's very misleading, I think, for people. And then they try like some network marketing thing and it doesn't work out. And then they don't want to hear about anything ever,
right.
you know?
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
kills their dream. And And to be clear, not all network marketing
No,
companies
of course
do
not.
this or are guilty of this. There are many that are high quality, high end,
Mhm.
but there are enough. You know, bad news travels faster than good, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
those that use the quick kill mentality, you know, get them in at all costs rather than tell the truth. That's what gave MLM a bad rap. It is a genius business
Mhm.
model. It's
Mhm.
just the way that it's been implemented and executed in some cases that has given a bad name to the whole industry. I still love it. I think it's a great industry, um,
Yeah.
and it just
It's just
depends.
like in insurance, you know. You always think of like the pushy salesperson when a lot of what we do is education, you know. So it's like everything.
And you have someone like Lorena who will actually call you and you know make sure that you're being taken care of. It's not just thank you for your business, next customer.
Right.
Not with them. That's how they've achieved long-term success. So
Mhm.
again, model success. Look at this woman to my left and model her, copy her. I'm sure she won't mind. And by the way, we're getting close to the end here, a lot closer than I thought. There's one question I like to ask every guest that comes on this show, and it's pretty empowering. It's a cool one. And the thing is, when I ask it, just take your time if you need to. Some people get the response right away. Others take a little bit of time. Whichever for you works fine is fine either way. But before I do that, real quick, I promised everyone that they could enter to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort in Mexico. Compliments of powertexting.com. Here is how you do just that. You can now, we give you permission, pull out your smartphone and punch in this phone number as if you were going to text it. Punch in 661 535 1624. And then in the message area, as if you're going to type a message to that number, type in the word peak, P-E-A-K, as in reach your peak. So again, that number is 661 535 1624, and type in the word peak, P-E-A-K, and that text will be going through the very system that is powertexting.com, our wonderful sponsors. They're the ones offering this wonderful 5-night vacation stay at a 5-star luxury resort in Mexico. And by the way, the very owner of the company himself has gone on these vacations, the very vacations that they sponsor. And so I just wanted you to understand and recognize and realize that you're not going to a place where they're going to shuffle you off into a room and pitch a timeshare for 5 hours one of the 2 days you're there. It's not like that. He's gone 3 times, and each time has had an amazing time. It's just like going on another vacation, no different. So go ahead and do that right away, and then we're going to come back and ask this wonderful show-ending question. And then we're going to also give you an opportunity on how to connect with Lorena before we sign off. But first, the question, and just to kind of ease you, take the nerves off if you have any, because you have quite the poker face, Lorena, I have to admit.
So I'm told, yes.
Here's the thing. There is no such thing as a wrong answer to this question. And it's very cool because it's really a personal thing. And not to get nervous about that, because the only correct answer is yours. It's unique to you. So whatever it is, it's correct. You're already guaranteed success with this answer to the question. So with that being said, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Fantastic. So, Lorena Tomasini, how do you define success?
That's a great question. I think success is different for everybody. But for me, success means that I can manage my own time, go on vacation when and where I want to. Um, yeah, and it means, you know, I get to do more of what I enjoy than things that I have to do, you know. Success for me is not really like for like money, it's not really a number, but it's just being able to do buy what I want, have all my bills paid is, you know, success. I think that's a basic one, but it's very important. And yeah, and then being able to like save money for the future is also important, and that's how I define success for me. Yeah.
Love it. And I've asked that question of every past guest expert. No two to date have answered it the same exact way. And it's still the case. So it's
Yeah.
fantastic. because it's unique to every individual. I love this part of the show. And I love it.
Absolutely.
Manage my own time. So really, we're talking about freedom to do what you want when you want.
Yeah.
Freedom was one word. I remember I asked a question before about what is your favorite thing about being an entrepreneur, and instantly the answer was freedom.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I use the term liberation. You're liberated. You're free of. It just feels more empowering to say liberated to me. I don't know. It's just I like that word. So cool. Thank you so much for that. Now, for folks out there, you also have a complimentary gift to give to folks as well. So I wanted to turn it over to you to explain that, and I'll pull you up next to your website. If you're ready, go ahead and tell folks what they need to do and how to do it.
Awesome. So I'm offering a free financial protection review for everybody out there. It's really just so that we can know what you have protected and what you don't, as far as your income and your financial future. And it's really eye-opening once you answer these set of questions. And that's complimentary as well as the review.
So fantastic. So to be clear, let me split this up. To be clear, what you want to do first is go to their website, and that is at MALM, INS. So it's MALM. So Mama, Albert, Larry, Mama, INS, which is short for insurance.com. So MALM, INS.com. And then there you see, like you see on the screen now at the very top, that blue button that says, yes, let's review. You want to click on that and then fill out that form, and then they will then get back to you, most likely Lorena herself. And you can see that she is a wonderful person. She is heart-centered. She's going to take care of you. It's not going to be a hard sell of any kind. She's just going to help you. And that's why she ended up coming on this show, because those are the type of people I love to be acquainted with and to bring onto the show, so that we can share wonderful people like Lorena with the entire globe. So thank you so much for that, Lorena. And is that also the best place to connect with you personally, if you're open to that, or is there another way you'd like people to get in touch?
Besides my website, you can call me or shoot me a text at 786-236-1792. During regular business hours. Don't text me at like 3 in the morning. But yeah.
Fantastic. That is also on the website. You see that in the upper right in the green little button under English and Espanol. Love it. Sweet. Well, thank you so much. This has been an amazing, amazing show. I'm looking over my notes. I wrote a bunch. I hope everyone else did too. I mean, I'm the director, the talent, the producer, everything, the host, and it's hard to see it, but I've got notes written throughout every page of my sheets here. And I'm going to go grab that book. Thank you so much for that, Lorena. That's a great
Thank you so much for having me on.
recommendation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And for all of you that have watched live, and those of you that are going to watch and listen on the recording, thank you for your time. And that is going to do it for this edition of the Mind Body Business Show. Do you have any final parting words for our wonderful viewers out there, Lorena?
Yeah, my final thoughts would be, take action. Don't just think about things, but actually implement whatever suggestion or whatever you want to do in life.
Fantastic. Take action. I cannot agree more. Great advice. All right. To all of you who are watching and listening, we thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Lorena, you as well. Thank you for coming on. And we'll see you on the next edition of the Mind Body Business Show. So long for now, and be blessed, everyone.
Thank you for watching and listening. This has been the Mind Body Business Show with Brian Kelly.